So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second is September 21st, 2016, regular session.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And September 21st, 2016, executive session.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And September 28th, regular session.
So moved.
I can have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, can we take the next item? It says 7:15 is,
Sure, this isn't a hearing, so we could bring Brian
oh,
forward.
he's here, okay.
Yep.
Okay, Brian Adams, NFP, board vote to accept senior plan reward.
We all have copies?
No,
We did not make them copies because we knew you'd be bringing the pretty colored copies.
We get to have a wonderful discussion about health insurance. I know everyone's really excited about that.
Been looking forward to it all day.
Every year we look forward to it.
Well, this is actually a very positive renewal. So just to touch base, your active population, your current employees renew on July 1st. All of your senior populations, your Medicare eligible folks, renew in January.
Could you just identify yourself and tell us?
Sure, I'm Brian Adams with NFP. We work with the town, we're the consultant for the town.
Okay, thank you.
So, just to dive right in, you've got three senior products. You've got one Medicare supplement that's offered through Harvard Pilgrim. That is paired with a Medicare Part D prescription drug plan offered through Aetna. You also have two Medicare Part C plans, one offered by Fallon, one offered by Tufts Health Plan. So the first plan on slide 2 is the 2017 Medicare Enhanced renewing with the PDP. No benefit changes, office visits are going to remain the same. Emergency room is covered at $50 copay. Inpatient, outpatient, day surgery, diagnostic tests, x-rays, and the like are all covered in full. Prescription drugs are a 4-tier plan. Co-payments of 10, 20, 35, and 35 for a 30-day supply. For a 90-day, it's 20, 40, 70. Tier 4 is not available for 90-day supply. Those are going to be your specialty medications. So there's two components to the total rate. One is the medical, one is the Part D through Aetna. So the Harvard Pilgrim renewal came in with the rate is $205.77. The Part D renewal came in at $143.95. So the combined total rate is $349.72. So on the next slide is just a little bit of information on the Medicare Part D, where you currently were. You were at $134.85. So the new renewal at $143.95. There's some changes to the Medicare plan. There are zero impact to the member. These are all changes in the gap coverage and catastrophic coverage. The limits have been increased. So for example, in the gap coverage, currently it's once you hit $3,310, you enter the gap. For 2017, that number is going up to $3,700. For catastrophic, it used to be $48.50, it's now $49.50. To the member, they still pay co-payments throughout the gap and into catastrophic, so there's no impact to the member. So the current rates are $334.63. The renewal rates are $349.72. The percent increase is 4.5%. Now this plan is going to run for a full year. So it's going to run from January of 17 through the end of December of 17, and we'll renew again next January.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
How many people are on this insurance?
I got the last slide. That's going to be listed.
All right, keep going then.
So the next slide is just, it's the 2017 IRMA for Part D. What IRMA is income-related monthly assessment that's charged to the member by CMS or Medicare. All this means is if you make over a certain amount, You have an additional charge that is billed to the member by Medicare, has nothing to do with the town, but some members may see an additional charge that they pay. Less than 5% nationwide have an IRMA adjustment. Typically, if you sell a home or you cash in a retirement plan, you may have, for that 1 year, you may have an earned income that's in excess of these amounts, so you'd have a supplemental charge. But that is not paid for by the town, has nothing to do with the town, that's all on the member. So the two other renewals, the Medicare Part C renewals from Fallon as well as from Tufts, had some pretty steep increases relative to norm. The Fallon Senior Plan, there's 34 members currently enrolled in the plan. The current rate is $322, the renewal rate is going up to $349, which is about an 8.4% increase. With that increase, there are mandated changes to the plan. So right now, there's no copayment for inpatient. There will be a $125 copayment. Skilled nursing for days, $20 for days 1 through 10, then covered in full, that's a change. And the surgical daycare copayments going from $75 to $125. Those are all mandated by Fallon. We did ask for some options to further reduce that. Fallon did provide one additional offering that would take the increase down to 5%, but that would increase the inpatient copayment to $250 as opposed to the 125. The Tufts Senior Plan, again, there's 62 members enrolled in that plan. Your 2017 rates are $307.50. That's a 10.4% increase from your 2016 rates. Driving a lot of this increase is primarily due to pharmacy trends. Whenever you have a Part D plan, the pharmaceutical trends that Tufts is using is about 20%, 25 to 30% for specialty pharmacy, so that's really driving the cost. On top of that, there were changes to CMS, which impacts both plans, both Fallon as well as the Tufts, that are reducing the CMS payments to the plan. So when the payments are reduced, they're going down by, I believe, $19 PMPM, and a lot of that's being used to subsidize the ACA or to pay for ACA charges. We did ask for 3 different plan offerings from Tufts. Option 1 with some minor changes, and I do have the last slide, I kind of outlined everything so it's a little bit easier to look at. One option would have reduced the rate to $301.50. That would be some changes in RX copayments. The second plan would have reduced the rate to $292 with a few more substantial changes, including a $300 inpatient copayment along with some prescription drug changes. We met with the IAC to review everything. The recommendation from the IAC was to renew as is for all 3 products. Primarily the reason being that there was not enough savings relative to the impact to the members. So the last comparison slide, this kind of puts everything together. And I apologize for it being so small. When you're looking at it on a computer screen, it's a little bit bigger than when it prints. So I'm just going to hold it pretty close to my face. The January 2016 through December of 2016 rate was $334. The town share was $278. The member share was $133.85. The new rate is $349.72. The town share would be $209, so it's going up by $9 and a few cents. The member is going to see about a $6 increase. There are 73 people enrolled in the Harvard Pilgrim plan. The Fallon plan has, again, 34 people. The current rate of $322, the town pays $297. The member pays $64.40. The town contribution for the Medicare Part C plans, because they're HMO plans, is at 80-20, and I believe it's 50-50 or 55-45 on the Harvard Pilgrim plan. So the town pays less towards the cost of the indemnity plan. The Harvard Pilgrim is an indemnity type plan. So the new rate will be $349. The town will pay $279.20, and the member pays $69.80. The second offering, or the second option from Fallon, and this is kind of where they decided against that, since there's already a mandated change, and last year there was also a mandated change. The rate would be $338, the town would pay $270, so the town would save $9 per member, but the member would only save $2, roughly. The Tufts plans, there was some discussion about going to option 2, but there was too many changes, primarily with respect to the $300 inpatient copay, as well as a reduction in the benefit for hearing aids. It wasn't as rich as what it currently is. As a backtrack, what we typically do is we kind of benchmark you to see how you compare to other industries, or other cities and towns, as well as the GIC, quite frankly, because that's the line in the room is how do we compare to the GIC. Your rates for your supplement plan are significantly lower than what is offered in the GIC, with significantly better benefits. Your Medicare supplement plan, or your Medicare Part C plans, the Fallon plan and the Tufts plan, you both have better benefits, and approximately you're in the benchmark rate. So you are paying roughly about the same amount with slightly better benefits. Any questions?
Brian, just one question. If we find that seniors get off of the Tufts plan, or, you know, they migrate from one to the other so that we aren't getting enough membership in one of those 3 plans, are we likely to be dropped by the carrier?
No. Well, we did have discussions within the Insurance Advisory Committee. We wanted to wait after this year to see if there's any membership trends. The Insurance Advisory Committee was considering and is open to discussions about potentially eliminating the Fallon plan and having those people migrate into the Tufts plan because it saves the town money as well as the member. Part of the reason why we offered the Tufts plan was a few years back there was a contract negotiation where Fallon doctors had an exclusive arrangement with Tufts. You had a significant amount of seniors who went to Fallon doctors, so they would have to switch doctors. So that's why we have the 2 Part C plans. You're not gonna, I mean, these are book rates, they're not experience rates. The only thing that's experience rated is your Harvard Pilgrim plan.
Thank you.
But I think, you know,
We need to look at it.
they're gonna start looking at, potentially eliminating one of the plan offerings. Any questions? Any additional questions, or?
So Mr. Chairman, so the combined number is 107 that are participating in all of these plans,
Correct.
correct? So to follow up with Anita, if one of them shifts and we lose one, that means we'd only have 2 options, could potentially have 2 options going forward. Is it right?
If the town, if the Insurance Advisory Committee and the town decides to drop one of the 2 Medicare Part C plans, then those members would switch. Say, for example, they decided to eliminate the Fallon plan, those members would move into the Tufts plan, and the town would offer just the Harvard Pilgrim Enhanced with the Tufts Medicare Part C plan. And those members could choose either one of them. Ideally, you'd like to see them move into the enhanced because you're paying less towards that. And the rates, years ago, the differential in the rates were pretty substantial, so you benefited having people in the Medicare Part C plan. Now the rates are, you know, if you look at what the proposed rates are for the Tufts plan, it's $307, the enhanced is $349. You pay 50% of the enhanced, pay 80% of the Part C, of the Tufts plan. So you're actually paying more for people to be in a more restrictive plan.
And
Members saving money though.
Mr. Crowley, Mr. Crowley just pointed out I hid missed a column, so we actually have 169, because he went across the bottom, I missed
Yeah, 73
73, 34,
and 62, correct.
So, right now, obviously, the Fallon one is the one that you're talking about,
Eliminating,
wondering how that would go
Potentially.
forward.
potentially, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Now, on the, I guess the first slide, Harvard Pilgrim, this slide here,
Yeah.
$50 for an emergency room, and that's cheap, isn't it?
It's, yes.
In the industry, it's probably a lot higher than that. or in the comparisons?
In the senior plan space, it's fairly standard. In the commercial space, your active employees, it's low.
And how about so $15 copay for specialists, that seems,
Relative to the plans that are in the market, it's fairly standard.
'cause
It's higher than the Tufts plan, it's higher than the Fallon plan, but it's fairly standard. A lot of them all of it's covered in full after small deductibles, like the GIC plan, for example. There's no copayment, but they're subject to a small deductible up front.
or just the difference from an emergency room visit to a office visit, it's only $35, I mean.
We asked Harvard Pilgrim what decrements would be if they increased the ER, and it's insignificant.
Doesn't save much.
By nature of who people are, typically, if you're at a certain age, if you go to the emergency room, typically you're admitted, and if you're admitted, that copayment gets waived. So that would be paid anyways.
Any other questions?
And again, that a decrement on that plan, keep in mind, is only off of the medical piece. So it would only be off of the 205. So if it's, I don't know, maybe 0.2% off of the it's virtually
Right,
insignificant.
that's what I was wondering, right?
So it seems like a pretty small increase for the town overall, as far as dollars go.
It's about $15,000 increase through the end of June.
15,000? Oh, for the total plan, you mean?
To total budget, including the
Yeah,
actives.
yeah.
Assuming membership, I mean, more people than.
I'm just talking about the seniors.
Oh, yeah, it's quite frankly, it's the lowest increase of our entire book.
Okay.
In the market, we're seeing PDPs go up by 17 to 20%. We're seeing overall Medicare supplements going up 10 to 12, I've one that's 15%.
I know.
I'll make a motion to.
Any 1 second?
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to comment and say that I think we owe Brian a great deal of thanks because he was very successful in getting Harvard Pilgrim to come down with their rate increase. They had previously projected a much higher
Yeah.
rate, and Brian did negotiate with them and get them down to that 4.5, so thank you on behalf of the town.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the Insurance Advisory Committee's recommendation that we renew the 3 plans as is.
Second.
Okay, you have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Anything else? No.
We do need this.
We have the one item that needs to be signed, it's in the signature file.
Okay, so no other discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so. Just this Harvard Pilgrim one?
Yeah.
Just the one.
There's no requirement for that because of the partnership, so if you sign one, you sign both.
Anita, do you want this now? Or?
We can give it right to Brian. We can take it. Yeah, maybe you could,
Or I can send it to you.
you can just
tomorrow.
send it to me tomorrow, that'd be better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
That wasn't too painful. Everyone loves talking about insurance, so.
That was an easy one.
Thank you.
Take care.
The next item is payroll and payable warrants, review and vote to approve current warrants.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we vote to approve the warrants from September 22nd, 2016 through and including October 5th, 2016.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, next item is the articles for town meeting, assign the articles. I'll just start with 1 for me. 2, we can go with John if anybody has any problems with them. The next one's 3, I guess the CPC will do.
That'll be George Bernardi,
Okay.
at CPC.
I don't think there's the capital improvement purchases, though. Do we do those, or does the board do
Usually,
those?
CIB does that.
Is that what happens? Capital improvement, we'll do that, that's number 4. Number 5 is ours, Raj. Number 6 is Siobhan. 7 is Pat. 8 is me. 9 is John. 10 is Raj. 11 is Siobhan. 12 is Pat. 13 is me. 14 is John. 15 is Raj. 16 is Siobhan. There's a John. Pat is 17. And then 18 is, no, 18 is me. We put some together already, we already
We
did.
did, we
right?
combined the 3 small fire department equipment items.
Okay. And then do we have, are we gonna have, in regards to Article 15, the town clerk?
We do have a letter from the town clerk stating that she is in favor of making that elected town clerk position an appointed town clerk position. So we can read that to the record at town meeting.
You can put that on the screen.
Could we also hand that out to people that are attending? I
You
know
could.
it's good to get it written, read into the minutes, but I think if people see it, ahead, first,
Yeah, I mean, is there any other groups that, or committees that, I guess, it would only be us that endorse, we can put it on there, but I think,
The Personnel Board did vote last night to endorse making the change to the appointed position, so they could speak to the article as well.
or maybe on the letter, we can also put these boards, I mean, we can vote right now if we'd like to endorse
Mhm.
the change. I mean, because, I don't know, it's up to you folks, what you wanna do.
That'd be a good idea, so we could put that on
On the
the
handout?
screen along with the letter.
Okay.
So does someone wanna make a motion to endorse Article 15, and then we can put on that the board voted to endorse, making it appointed?
I'll make a motion to endorse Article 15 as written.
I'll
Second.
A motion and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So I guess we could put the letter and then put these 2 groups, I mean, I think that's the only 2, the town clerk,
Only
us,
appropriate ones, right.
and the,
Personnel Board.
personnel board, I think that's.
Okay.
Okay, any other, no one has any issues with the warrant articles they have, and we'll have the package, the Friday or the Thursday before?
We're still working on finalizing the actual motions. For example, like on Article 8, we're trying to get the final numbers for the FY17 budget fix. We're also waiting to get the free cash certified. We're looking to try to do the capital item for the DPW under certified free cash, and possibly some of the other items that are under the fire station items and some of the budget fixes. So we need to see what that free cash comes in as a certified number, and then we can make decisions about whether it's appropriate to use our additional tax levy capacity, which we do have, or if we should be looking to use free cash. At this point, because the town accountant is a tad worried that our free cash number will be coming in a little bit lower, the reason for that is that we haven't received the reimbursement yet from the state on our MassWorks sidewalk project grant, and some other grant items for the school. So annually, DOR will reduce our free cash amount by those reimbursements that weren't received by the end of September. So she wants to wait and see what that comes in as. She likely will ask us to pass over the transfer into the general stabilization fund article and the transfer into the capital fund article, just to allow us to wait until spring to see how things go through the fiscal year.
Okay, so yeah, we'll have that probably the end of next.
We will.
I know in the past, if, at least I thought we did, if questions came up, we had certain people's names that could answer the questions if we
Yeah, sure.
weren't.
They'll have
So
that
we're
on
gonna do that again? Like if certain topics come up, who's
Sure.
the best to answer
People to refer
that?
to?
Yeah, and then sometimes we have trouble with like the paperwork and getting signed and who's gonna do the second.
I don't think we have to set who does first, second. We can just call them and however it
I
falls.
was just thinking if we had them ahead of time, like at our piles, like I'm doing, say, 1, 2, and 3, and I had the paperwork, then probably who would be sitting next to me, it could just be passed and then put them, I was just trying to get it a little bit
I
more.
think I'll just keep it in front of me and I'll make sure they get out to everybody. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a real issue with it.
The one thing I think is important, not just who's gonna answer the questions, when we move an article, we gotta give an explanation. A lot of people are showing up
Yeah.
and saying, what am I voting for tonight?
Mhm.
So, and we didn't do it at last town meeting, and I got a lot of blowback from people that I talked to. You guys sat up there and, nobody asked us any questions, but they were sitting there at the meeting going, well, what's going on? And nobody said, hey, what is it, what does that mean? So we should be able to, if, whatever article you're moving, we should have, whether it's a scripted thing or something to explain what this article means.
Yeah.
Or a person that can't explain it.
Yeah, I'm prepared to stand up and do most of that explanation as needed.
That's what I've done in the past.
But if you, as the individual assigned to move that question, would prefer to do that, I'll prepare that information and give it to you and just act as your backup. So I can have those conversations with each of you. I can prepare the information and say, do you feel comfortable presenting it, or would you like me to? But I feel very strongly, Pat, I agree that, the voters are owed more information about each question before the vote takes place.
Yeah, I think the odd thing was the moderator didn't say after every article, is there a description?
No, he said it, any explanation, and we just sat there and nobody
Oh,
said.
I didn't think he said it this time, but that's fine, yeah, we can, some of them are self-explanatory, those of you,
Right.
Like the one we always laugh about moving money that we don't have. So, once we get the package,
Mhm.
I can talk to you about
Yep.
it, if there's any issues. Any other? No. Town administrators reports,
Okay, thank you.
any order you would like.
Okay, going in order on my report, the first item is the Municipal Modernization Act. Just wanted to put this out here during the meeting so that the residents would understand that there was a significant piece of legislation that was passed, which most of it goes into effect on November 7th. Some of it is immediately gone into effect. But what it's doing is it's cleaning up some problem processes that were built into the laws that affect how we do our day-to-day operations as a town. And, but there's a lot in this document. There are a lot of changes that have agreed to be made. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to find the most accurate summary available of all these different changes. And I'm going to be working with staff over the next set of months, to make sure that each office who may be impacted by any particular section of the bill is aware of it and is aware of what changes need to take place moving forward so that they're doing it appropriately. There's a lot there. There's numerous training sessions that are being held all over the state by the MMA, by the DOR, by various different organizations. So we're getting people to attend those as much as possible. And, it's something that will be making sure that boards and committees who are also impacted are aware of these changes as well. Including additional changes are those that were made to the open meeting law. And these changes go into effect on January 1st. And it really does change the way we go about responding to records requests, how much we can charge for those records. We need to assign a person who's responsible for being the go-to person for requesting records, and they have to track that process all the way through. It also changes, our approach that we take to document management. We may find that we need to put more documents online than currently exist so that it reduces the number of public record requests that come forward and that we have to respond to. So there's a lot of changes on that as well. I'll be going to a training in Leominster on that in a few weeks, and I'll be bringing back not only to staff but to the boards and committees some good summary sheets that show what the changes are in that. I will need to make a decision about who to assign for the records access officer. And typically, in most communities, that's the town clerk, but we may find it helpful to also have one be in the police department as well, because that department's dealing with certain confidential records that would not be appropriate perhaps for the town clerk to be privy to. So we need to, review the impacts of the law and make those decisions, and I'll keep the board up to speed on what those changes end up being. The next item is just to ask the board what you'd like to do about this. We previously had not given serious consideration to applying to the state's Department of Energy Resources to be a green community because of a complication that had existed with the fact that we have our own municipal light plant. When you have a municipal light plant, they apply an extra criteria to your community that you have to meet to be considered eligible. And it was a criteria that our municipal light plant just felt that they could not fulfill for the town's behalf. But we've since been notified by DOER and National Grid that we do have three households in West Boylston. They're on the Briarwood Circle area of town that are being supplied by National Grid. So as such, because we have 3 households, we can rely on the National Grid provision of electricity service rather than our municipal light service. So that extra criteria is eliminated, and we're just back to the original set. So now we could potentially give serious consideration to looking at becoming a green community. And it's not an easy thing to do. It, is something that requires zoning to be changed. It requires commitments in terms of energy reduction over a period of a number of years, some of which we've already done. So the fact that our benchmark is already set lower than it had previously been, some of those energy savings might be harder to achieve. But I just wanted to get feedback from the board. Is this something that you would like us to give more serious consideration to?
Nita, how many towns currently are green communities in Massachusetts?
I don't know that number. I'll get that for you. The one thing I do know, though, is that the number is high enough so that the annual grants that green community cities and towns basically almost achieved by right, just by being a green community, has now become a much more competitive grant process, and the dollar values of those grants has gone down quite a bit. So there's not the financial incentive that there had been for those communities that started out.
What would be the advantage to being a green community? What do we get besides the name?
The key incentive has always been the funds from the state to assist with paying for energy efficiency projects within town buildings. Because that grant benefit has decreased over time, it's become less of an incentive for some communities. The other thing is that it does make residents within that community more eligible for certain grants or incentives that they might be eligible on their own, for their own residential household.
So you're telling me that because we have 3 residents in town,
We have 3 residents served by National Grid.
the rest of
that
the
has-
residents can get some of these things National Grid offers? No.
No. What it means is that we're now able to eliminate that last cumbersome criteria. So it makes it much more feasible for us to consider becoming a green community. Before it was not, because the Municipal Light Board felt that it was too cumbersome for them to achieve that criteria successfully. So having eliminated that criteria, we're now back to the typical criteria, which include, as I said, changes in zoning, acceptance of the stretch code, which is basically requires energy efficiency for residential new construction or additions of certain sizes, zoning changes, energy reduction within town buildings, utility costs need to be brought down by 20%, I believe, over a period of 5 years. Those types of things. So, as I said, it's not easy to achieve eligibility to be assigned as a green community, but many communities look at it as saying it's the right thing to do. They should make the attempt to try to achieve those criteria.
Can you give us an idea of what some of the towns maybe surrounding have received? And now that we've kind of did that energy study, like at the schools and all the buildings, is it gonna be harder for us to get that decrease? So I'm just trying to figure out what the, even if it's a wash, then I guess if it's meaningful, but I'd like a little bit more information on, is there, 300,000 available, is 100, some kind of idea in what surrounding towns, and maybe towns like us that do have our own lighting plant, maybe have received.
I don't have those numbers for you tonight.
Okay.
I think that's, if the board thinks it's worth giving serious consideration to, I would put together a small group to help look at all of that information and bring it back to report to the board.
I think it's important to ask the question of the ESCO people. Look, if we did this, we just spent $3 million becoming energy efficient. We've already done it. I don't see any way we're gonna, in 5 years, reduce our energy consumption by 20%. If this was 5 years ago,
Exactly.
it would be fine, and then if we did the ESCO project, so I don't know that it's feasible to meet the criteria because of the steps we've already taken to become a green community without the name.
Right. The first step in looking to see if it's truly feasible is to do an energy audit of the buildings. We already have energy audits that are done from the ESCO project. We'd need to do updated energy audits from those buildings that are not part of that measurement and verification process. And really it would be having someone look at the energy audits and letting us know, you really don't have capacity for the savings that need to be achieved. Or they may say, you could potentially look at these types of projects. But without going through that energy audit, it's really hard to say for sure. But I agree with you, Pat. I think that because of the fact that we did achieve a great energy efficiency, it's particularly at the middle high school and Major Edgeworth School, that it may be hard to meet that particular criteria.
And that one part, that's only one part of it too. And that's a big part, but that's
It's
only
a big
one part of the changes that have to be made. And I don't know what the residents in this town will get from being, I know that the light department's always asked, do you give the free things? Do you give out the bulbs? Do you do this? And they go, no, our rates are so low, National Grid's a lot higher, so they can give you all of these extra things. So our rates are low anyway, so,
Right.
if you just, I
I know one of the towns that was part of this, they bought 2 electric cars, and that, they reduced the price of fuel with that, that's what they use it for.
Yeah, they
It's
spent a lot of money on
They,
it.
they spend a lot of money on
Yeah,
electric cars,
it's probably a 30-year payback
right,
on the savings.
but that's what they do with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the requirements is that you have to, for non-exempt vehicles, you have to commit to purchasing more energy efficient vehicles. The non-exempt vehicles would be things like a meter reader's vehicle or, administrative car for the police station or things like that. It doesn't count obviously towards our numerous town employees that use their own vehicles and receive the mileage reimbursements for it. Obviously, the heavy equipment used by DPW, fire, and emergency response vehicles are not part of that. Those would be exempt. So there's a lot to it, a lot of work, and I just don't want to move ahead with it if there's not a strong feeling.
Well, I think if you get an idea of what kind of report it's gonna, what kind of effort it's gonna take, then give us an idea about that before you go full-blown into.
I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it
Yeah,
till you
exactly.
get,
Okay.
and then see what the advantages are for the residents, for the town. If we're gonna be spending 60,000 for a car or 70,000 when we would only spend 30 to save
10,000 is grand, why?
over the next 5 years, save a couple thousand, so. Just to get, like you say, Pat said it, we don't have the title, but we already pretty much are in all our town buildings.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't spend a lot of time.
Chris, maybe we should also connect with the municipal lighting plant. Maybe they've already got a lot of that information. I don't know, but might be worth just a call and it might save you some time and energy.
Okay. And the last item is just to let you know that I did go to the MMA legislative breakfast last Friday. They had a lot of information on this Municipal Modernization Act and the Public Records Law, but they were also giving an update on the state's finances. And in particular, they were quite concerned about the FY17 tax revenues being down. The FY16 tax revenues were down quite a bit, and they're still trying to adjust year-end closure on that to deal with it. But they're concerned that that trend is continuing into FY17. they won't really know for sure until they see the tax revenue results for September, which is usually the first month that starts to be the normal trend for the new fiscal year. But they are considering that 9C cuts may need to be made to the state budget. Those are mid-year cuts to the state budget. And quite often in the past, when we've heard that, we've been concerned that that would mean cuts to local aid, which comes to us, which we use to balance our budget. But we were told by the MMA representative that the likely cuts would be for special earmark projects that were earmarked within the budget. So those would be towns that have been promised some amount of money for a specific project that they were moving forward on. And so it's, you know, seeing as the only earmark that we've had was the $5 million previously, you know, promised for the Goodell Park, and not having any of those others, it seems, you know, that we really wouldn't have to face any local aid cuts in FY17, so that's the good news. But also wanted to point out for people that weren't aware of it, the state is considering what they're calling a millionaire's tax, and if this continues to get favorable reviews from the House and the Senate, it could very well be on the ballot for next November, actually I think it's November 2018, to establish a millionaire's tax, which would add a 4% tax to wages over $1 million. And they anticipate that that could bring in enough income that would create a much more stable tax revenue situation for the state, and therefore more reliable revenues that could be provided for local aid. So I just wanted people to be aware that that's out there. And that's it for my report.
Thank you. And then an update on the informational meetings that we have for the update on the police station and town meeting. The next one is, what's the date today?
Tomorrow.
Thursday.
October 6th.
Yeah, October 6th at Hillside Village at 2:30. And then Saturday, October 8th at Christ Lutheran Church at 10 a.m. And then October 11th at the Beaman Library, at the Town Library at 6:30. And that will go over all articles on the warrant, not just the police station. October 13th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Angel Brook. And then October 15th, here at the Town Hall at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's a Saturday also. And then I'm sure it's somewhere else, but the town meeting is October 17th at the middle high school. And the town election is, the special election is October 18th from noon till 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Now, is there voting now for the special election? Or is there only voting now for the?
No, there's,
early voting?
you can do absentee voting for the special election. And the early voting is only for the presidential election, and that starts on October 24th.
But absentee you can do for the town, for the special town. I guess you can do absentee for
Yep.
both. but-
Yep, if anyone has any questions about, you know, their ability to do absentee ballot, they should call the town clerk's office.
Yeah. Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to point out that we did have the bid openings today for the police station project, and we were pleased to get 7 bids in. So we're in the process of reviewing those, trying to understand what the numbers are, and we're hoping that we can get that concrete information out to people so they understand what the bid pricing means for the total project cost. And we'll try to get that out to people at the information sessions and on the website as quickly as possible.
And we will have that number for October 6th.
We will,
In our presentation, we'll have that
yes, we will.
finalized number. Okay, next item is an invoice for Reinhardt Associates, number 5, for $129,000.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the invoice as this is the final construction plans and done.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next item is consider voting to appoint Mary Ellen Cox as Deputy Warden, October 18, 2016, special election as recommended by the town clerk.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Concurrence on the appointment of Gary Flynn to the Earth Removal Board as the designee of the Water District effective October 5th, 2016, for a term to expire June 30th, 2017.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And then we'll also like to announce that the resignation of Christine Pedoni. She was a full member on the zoning board. I'd like to thank her for her years of service on the board. I know that they had some tough situations there, so we will, now we have an open seat for a full member, correct?
We do.
And that will be posted soon? Yes, that will be.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Would it be possible, because now we're down to 4 full-time members and 1 associate member, who did apply for a full membership at the last voting, would it be possible to just elevate him and just post for 3 associate members? Because we have a meeting tomorrow night, and then we have another one on the 27th of this month, and I don't think that we're gonna, have someone in place by then.
And
I would like to,
but the associate member can be,
Right, but I mean, it alleviates, of him.
yeah, but we do like to see other town residents to apply
Well,
for
the
full
last time
member.
we had an open member, only 2 people.
But we
applied,
don't
it was
know.
Both the associate members. so-
We cannot assume the last time and this time. So I think, we'll wait for the,
I would not,
Maybe
be-
it's
I would
better.
not be in favor of doing that now until we have, who comes forward.
yeah, I think we should post it. I think we already posted, it's probably already out there that we need alternates, correct?
Yes.
So we need alternates now, so we need 2 alternates right now and a full-time member.
Correct.
but it,
The alternate member, now it just assumes the role of a full-time member until that full-time member is approved. So it shouldn't affect your board until, when this process ends, if this person gets appointed as the full-time member, nothing changes, correct?
I just thought that, since they already had applied for it, that would be, like I said, we're down to the lowest we've ever been to. We've only got 5 members now, 4 that are full and 1 that's an associate. So I just thought it might be easy just to, since he'd already applied to be a full member, just to elevate him.
So they can, if they only have 4 members one night, they can have a meeting.
They can.
correct? Yeah, okay. Okay, so we'll post
But
that.
then but then we would run into a problem on a vote. Okay, so we just have to make, and we don't want to get into that situation.
What would be the issue with the vote? Majority, if it's a majority vote, then,
On a special permit and a variance, we have to have 4 positive votes.
right, so they would all have to vote, but on the other one, it's just majority, so.
But if we only have 4 members, if one person doesn't show up and we only have 4 members, then, and the vote is 3-1, then it fails. So I'm just,
can I?
Yep.
Is there a deadline for this full member to apply?
Is there a what?
Deadline.
I don't know, we're gonna put,
According to the board's policy on appointments, we post positions for 2 weeks. So if we get someone within the 2 weeks, then we bring them before the board. If we don't, then we just keep it posted until someone applies.
So the 2 weeks starts from today, or?
We'll schedule it for the next meeting.
Okay.
If someone comes forward.
yeah, because that will be, yep. The 19th, the meeting is the 19th.
Right.
Okay, any other discussion on that? No. Old business, so again, meetings and invitations and announcements, again, I'll say that October 17th, we have a special Board of Selectmen's meeting at 6 PM at the middle high school on the 17th before town meeting. And then again, town meeting is the 17th at 7 PM at the middle high school. And then October 18th, noon to 8 PM is the special town election at Our Lady of Good Counsel. So just get out and vote, come to the town meeting, come to our informational meetings. Again, the library one on October 11th at 6:30, we'll go over all warrant articles, including the police station article. future agenda items and selectmen's reports. Anyone?
We're gonna have a special first meeting this Saturday. What time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, before the, for our regular, meeting at 10 o'clock. Okay?
No, before our
Before-
informational meeting?
Yes,
And that's
at 10.
at 10 o'clock at Christ Lutheran, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're posting the meeting for
We have
here.
the meeting here, then we're gonna go with it.
It'll be a brief meeting.
9
Did you already
o'clock.
have it posted? Do you want to make it 8:30? I mean, that's going to be kind of, that gives us, we want to try to get to that next meeting.
If we think we can get a quorum for 8:30, that'd be great.
I know John's up. I'm up. Is 8:30 all right with, I mean, these members, I don't think 8:30 or 9. I think that just gives us a little more time. I don't want to rush
Mhm.
the discussion, if that's all right with the board. We'll go 8:30?
Yeah.
Is that all right, Pat? Will you be at that?
Gonna be at the Saturday meeting either way.
Oh, okay, so, Siobhan, you're all set?
I'm away.
Hey, okay, Raj, you okay with that?
Yes.
And then the other, if we can just mention it to the other,
We need, 3 more.
yeah, I think
Oh, good.
they'll,
Yeah, I'll send it out tonight before I head home and ask people to confirm that they can attend.
we'll try.
And also, Marlin Street has been started, all the pavement is gone, and they're getting ready to pave, so the project is going forward.
It's quick.
It is very quick.
No, I'm joking.
Oh, no, but,
Where's Malden Street?
I don't know,
How many years?
Never heard of that street.
it's in the woods.
Well, that's good, and I think, some other work's being done. Is the sidewalk project done, it's complete? I think it looks,
They were doing some punch list items today and yesterday. They had some driveway aprons that needed to be changed out. But I think that was the last
Looks
of the
pretty
items
much-
to be done.
looks very, looks
It's
nice.
great.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay, any other future agenda items? Yes.
No, I just wanted to thank all the people that did the scarecrows and came out. I know the weather wasn't the best, but it's really nice. One of the reasons we like driving into town around this time of year is it adds color and it shows people care about our town. And then Ms. Pedoni, I want to thank her for being on the zoning board for so long and really doing a very good service to the town. She will be missed.
For the police station funding.
Okay,
Thank you,
If-
Mr. Chairman.
thank you.
What is
If nothing else,
Chris,
sorry.
one thing was brought up, the October 18th special election is for the police station, so in case anybody's questioning,
special
Just
election.
only one question.
Some-
and
some
they-
people- it's the only thing on the ballot.
Yep.
And one other point on that, which we might want to start mentioning now, is that even if Article 2, which is the police station article, does not pass at town meeting, we still want people to come out to the special election and vote yes or no on the ballot question, because there is potential that we could schedule a future town meeting to reconsider that article at the town meeting. We need both to pass because we're doing borrowing for this debt outside of Prop 2.5, and that does require both a town meeting vote and an election vote. It does not state, though, what order those votes need to take place in. So if for some reason town meeting fails, we still want people to come to the ballot and vote on that Tuesday, Tuesday at the special election. And then, that would provide us the opportunity potentially to come back to another town meeting and try to revote that town meeting warrant question again.
Correct, so the election happens the next day, whatever happens at town meeting.
No matter what.
I think we have been saying that, I don't know if we did at the first meeting, but we have been saying it when we had a chance. So, and we can decide what we do after that,
Right.
that next day. If nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to go in executive session.
I move to enter into executive session under the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Part 3, to discuss strategy with respect to the collective bargaining position of the public body, and the chair so declares.
Second.
And that's in regards to DPW negotiations. I have a motion and a second, roll call. And we're not gonna come back into, regular session.
Mr. Rajesh Kumar,
Yes.
Mr. Hackman,
Yes.
Mr. Rucho,
Yes,
Mr. Crowley,
Yes.
Ms. Bonson.
Yes.
yes. Okay, thank you. I think, Raj, there might be